I think the key message for this exhibition is that it comes out of Africa. That's a very important message in itself. Africa is the source of our own origins. Africa is where human beings evolved. Africa is not only the source of our own wonderful identity as human beings, we evolved there, but also we are victims of things like AIDS, like Ebola. Many diseases have come out of Africa. Malaria, killers, many more very dangerous and unexpected things will come out of Africa. So it's imperative that we understand not only Africa itself, but we understand the processes that govern our evolution, the processes that govern the emergence of a terrible disease like Ebola or AIDS. We don't understand these things, and by and large we don't understand that we came out of this continent. So Africa is the university of the future. It is a continent which has more to teach other continents than any other continent can offer. It is entirely wrong to think of Asia, Europe or America having lessons to teach to Africa. So that is the sort of message that I hope this exhibition will imply. It's not explicit, but it is quite clear that one of the themes here is this is an exhibition from our mother continent in one of the few institutions that has the vision to actually support first-class research in a key area of Africa. Now that is a very big feather in the cap of MUSE. The second theme, the first theme I call it, what it is to be a mammal. And that is partly because it's about mammals, but it's also a reminder that we ourselves are mammals. So that's the first theme. The second theme, because I'm a scientist as well as an artist, is science as inspiration. Science as one of the things which gives us a vision, a new vision, many new visions, because science is developing all the time and it's producing new perspectives on things we thought we knew. But science is always skeptical. Science is always testing and testing and testing again and reformulating ideas about reality, about the world that surrounds us, or even the world out in outer space. That is what science is about, and it's a very, very central part of both education, but also of culture. The third theme is really more my personal research area, and it's called In the Eye of the Beholder. And we say beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. But it's much more important than that. Modern science has shown that what we see, the eye is only a recorder. All the seeing is going on inside the brain. And that's an extremely important insight. In the past, we thought we saw with our eyes. Okay, we register with our eyes, but our eyes break everything down into little units like a computer and send item by item, billions of them to the brain, and the brain makes its own sense of it. And the sense that I make of it, and the sense that, say, a chimpanzee or a crocodile makes of what it sees is totally, totally different, because they have a totally different brain, and they have totally different, if you like, interests. So actually vision and understanding vision is one of the most important areas of modern research. And it affects artists very, very profoundly. It certainly has affected me and shaped the way I go about making images. So That is the third theme. How does this exhibition relate to conservation? Well, the very first people who were concerned about conservation were hunters. They didn't want to see elephants and lions and rhinoceroses disappear because they wanted to shoot them, and they wanted to go on reproducing so their children could shoot them and their grandchildren could shoot them. So we've come a long way from that, but that was the sort of way in which conservation began. And of course, Africa became very interesting to people because they went there in order to shoot things. Now we have a much more complex awareness. And above all, our education systems have begun to incorporate science. Maybe at one time learning to read and write, to do arithmetic, and to be good accountants was all education was particularly concerned with. But now modern education insists that science takes up at least half the curriculum. And when you look at conservation in the perspective of education and in the perspective of evolution particularly, evolution is the only explanation for the diversity of life on Earth. The question, where did we come from, is not asked in schools at primary school level. It should be, because that's one of the first questions that children ask. A child asks its mother, "Mama, where did I come from?" And she says, "Well, I come from here, and from Daddy's something, but anyway." Ultimately, they say, "Well, yes, but before that, and before that, and before that." We have to address the origins of humans as part of answering the first questions that a child will ask. And we need to be able to answer it at the primary school level, not only at university or keep it for a little cult of scientists. Scientists put in a ghetto. That's not acceptable anymore. And MUSE is not a ghetto. MUSE is out in the open, it's popular, and it's got to teach the really important lessons about science. We live in one world. Africa is at the heart of our existence. That has to be taught in so many different ways. And we must address education at every kind of level in every continent before we can begin to say that science museums are a great success. Science museums will be a great success at the moment when every child has had a sound education and can answer the question, where did I come from? Those are the sort of questions I expect a museum to answer for somebody who is 4 years old, somebody who is 6 years old, somebody who's 10 years old, somebody who's 20 years old. That is the sort of, and I think that that's the direction you're going in. And I think it's a wonderful direction to be moving in. And I especially applaud the fact that MUSE is devoting resources to developing science in Africa.